can make you better, boy. So take this risk if you wanna.
Tap into H.O.P the series.
Whether a man or woman, you want it or you got it. It's a divine affection. Yeah, you can't live without it. Such a lover, girl. I'll give you all the feels. Step into my world. I promise you'll love it here with me. That's good for my mama, and I can make you better, boy. So take this risk if you wanna. A real lover, girl. I'll give you all the feels. Step into my world. I promise you'll love it here with me. And all this film energy. When I feel safe, when I feel hurt, when I can trust you at your word, that makes me feel soft. I'm just a girl, ready to nurture you. When I feel safe, when I feel hurt, when I can trust you at your word, that makes me feel soft. I'm just a girl, ready to nurture you. Feel energy, don't let it hear. Feel energy. Whether a man or woman, you want it or you got it.
As we dance, the energy's high. Let the music be our guide. All for one for all. We shall rise, we don't fall. As we dance, the energy's high. Let the music be our guide. All for one for all. We shall rise, we don't fall. When will you realize you are the real prize? When will you realize you are the real prize? I call you to move. I call you to breathe life into your heart. Breathe life into your body. You are a blessing, you are a movement, you are a vision. Time does not consume you. You are a time traveler. You move in the unseen galaxies that only with power and grace. Your face, your body, it moves. It moves to the everlasting movement of life. You feel good, you look good, you are good. You strive for success. You deserve the beauty and the rest. You are here, you are now, you are everything. Sway, move, sway, move, sway, move, sway. As we dance, the energy's high. Let the music be our guide. All for one for all. We shall rise, we don't fall. As we dance, the energy's high. Let the music be our guide. All for one for all. We shall rise, we don't fall. You can dance with it, you can do it. You can sing with it, you can do it. You can clap with it, you can do it. You can smile with it, you can do it. You can vibe with it, you can do it. You can dance with it, you can do it. You can sing with it, you can do it. You can dance with it, you can do it. Find the rhythm, find your dreams. Reach real high, be the sky, be the air. Touch the trees, be the freedom you see. You can dance with it, you can do it. You can sing with it, you can do it. You can clap with it, you can do it. You can smile with it, you can do it. You can vibe with it, you can do it. You can dance with it, you can do it. You can sing with it, you can do it. You can dance with it, you can do it. As we dance, the energy's high. Let the music be our guide. All for one for all. We shall rise, we don't fall. As we dance, the energy's high. Let the music be our guide. All for one for all. We shall rise, we don't fall. We shall rise, we don't fall. Be free, be free, be free. We shall rise, we don't fall. We shall rise, we don't fall. We shall rise.
All right.
Big shout out to our independent artists that send them music. I really like that, Pierce. I mean, Queen. It's authentic. It's not like with a bunch of added stuff. It's just so authentic and real. You know how sometimes you can look at videos, they got too much going on that's not real, that's not realistic. That
Yeah.
right there made me feel like I was in a moment. I needed that. Me being a community activist, me being an advocate, it just said we will rise. It's empowerment. And it was so just authentic. I just want to put that out there in case Carla G is listening, Carla Gamble.
Yeah. Shout out to Carla G. That was We Rise. You can follow Carla G on YouTube is just Carla G or Carla Gamble. I
Music.
think she has two YouTube pages actually. So if
Hmm.
you enjoyed that, follow her. All of her music is very inspirational. I this if you are a female entrepreneur, you should understand the grind. Maybe not so much as an artist on the artist side, but it's still the
Still a job.
grind. You're still
Mhm.
an entrepreneur. You're just the product. So please support entrepreneurs, female entrepreneurs in any genre that they are in. So welcome to the House of Peach, right? And as usual, I gotta do my spill. The House of Peach Inc. series is produced by Peach ENT, which is yours truly. Hop
Chill.
was created to inspire aspiring female entrepreneurs to chase their dreams through the art of storytelling by sharing real stories of courage, perseverance, and success. We empower women to believe in their vision and build the future they deserve. So, welcome to Hop, airing each and every Wednesday at 8 p.m. ish. We were a little late, but I think we did pretty good. What you think? I think we did pretty good
I think we
getting
did
in here.
good. I think we did
So
pretty good.
shout out to Maybach for tuning in. Shout out to Talib. The reason why I can't shout you out is because you are not commenting in the chat. So feel free to say hello to us. And while you're watching, share the live. So, as usual, we talk about our week. Vonda, how was your week?
Wow. You mean last week? It was something. It was something, but it felt good when the mission was completed. If you don't know, we had a tornado here in Dover that wiped out one hotel and wiped out another hotel where we had people living in those hotels that were, unsheltered, and those hotels kept them there. And so we had a lot of community forces on the ground, which we call Ground Zero, trying to give them resources. So we were able to get everyone, into another dwelling with the help of the city, state, and a whole bunch of other resources. Um, and then on Saturday, I went and got an award through the Boss Collective. So that felt good. I didn't know nothing about it. My A1 day ones, as we call it, my tribe, they all knew, but I didn't know. I thought they was honoring cancer warriors because you had to wear pink. So I thought that that's what they was doing, and ended up getting an award for the work that I do in the community as well as legislatively. So that felt good. And then Sunday, I just couldn't get right. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't like rest. So I went down to the water and took pictures of birds. So that was how my week went. Some affirmations, burning some paper.
Okay. Awesome. Awesome. My week was quite headachy, as usual. The 9 to 5. And speaking of 9 to 5, I want to say rest in peace to my idol, Dolly Parton. That
Yeah.
was my idol. And the reason why she was at a young age, she taught me how to love and accept the girls that's sitting on my chest. So thank you, Dolly, for being an inspiration to young girls with big boobs everywhere. Um, in addition to that, she's an entrepreneur again. Artists are more than just singing in the front. That is a whole business structure.
Mhm.
And Dolly did it for so many years. So yeah, RIP to my girl Dolly. Put in while you up there, Dolly, if you can hear me, could you just sneak over to the creator and put in a little prayer? Just whisper in his ear, tell him to make Hop become one of the most watched nationwide show. Okay, just do that for me, Dolly, and throw in a couple dollars. But yeah, R.I.P. to Dolly Part, and I will. Damn, I will always love you. You know she wrote that song, right?
Uh
That
huh.
was her song before Whitney Houston.
I'm also a Dolly Parton fan, so yeah.
Right. So RIP to her.
Big shout
So
out to P. Moses. He's showing me.
yeah. P Moses said peace and love to everyone. Much love to you, Peach. Hi, P Moses. Thank you for tuning in. Please share the live. So our topic for tonight is doing the work with our resources. And before we bring in our guests, Vonda, have you ever did all the work without the resources? I know I most certainly have with my nonprofits.
I do it. I do it today. I mean, I don't got. I mean, all the resources I got is what people send to me digitally, but financially, I do a lot of the work and rely on donations from community members. I'm not. You know what I'm saying? We don't get them from nowhere else. You know what I mean? It's from people donating to cash apps or to our hands when we tell them what we got going on. So yeah, I've done a lot of the work without the resources. The resources come either from my own pocket or whatever.
Yeah.
And I think that's a lot of people. And you know, to be honest,
Yeah, I could certainly agree. I can say this, right? With me having two nonprofits, that's grassroots, one LGBTQ plus, and the House of Peach. On the grassroots level, it's like you spend the first 5 years
Mm-hmm.
proving that you can survive before anyone will acknowledge your nonprofit or offer you the opportunity to get grants. It is that hard. You have to prove. You have to have the financials. You have to show that you are actually about your mission.
Yep.
So during those first 5 years, and still, once you do get established after the 5 years, the whole without me saying it, makes
Uh-huh.
it a little bit more difficult. And what
Uh-huh.
else makes it a little more difficult? So, yeah. So a lot of times we, have to use community resources. We have to get our support from the people that support our mission and believe in us. A lot of the money comes from, internal dues,
Mm-hmm.
family donations. And I'm
Membership.
happy to say, yeah, I have done a lot and I appreciate everyone that supported every dream that I had because we wouldn't be able to do it without you. We really wouldn't. I mean, I had pieced together galas and everything else, and it's just not even just finances that people donated. It
Yeah.
be other things, time. Um, then what else? They loan you stuff like furniture,
Yeah.
tablecloths, micro equipment.
Yes.
People volunteer to speak at these spaces. The volunteers, we love you. So it's a lot of stuff that gets done without the resources.
Without the resources. So, when you're at the ground level, sometimes it's all about who you know and who you built a network with and who really genuinely loves what your nonprofit is doing or your organization. You know what I'm saying? And you just tell them you got to be out there and let them know what you need and pray that, they could step in and help you. That's why it's good to be, transparent with those you built relationships with.
Right.
Mhm.
And I had to learn early on that a closed mouth don't get nothing.
Nothing.
You got to get out here, put your pride to the side, and say, "Hey, can I get that little tent you got? I need it to. Can I get this? Do you
It's a little,
mind donating?"
yeah. I
That was
said last year,
hard.
I said last year in 2025 that 2026 was a year of collaboration for me, and I've done just that. How you doing, Justina?
Hi,
Yep,
Justina.
yep. She said it's your connections in the community. That is correct. Yeah.
Yeah, so we hope through you watching House of Peach that you feel like you building a community with us here.
Hmm.
Everything that I do, every nonprofit is about building. I don't even say community, I just say family. Everything I do is one big family
Yes.
reunion, and you are a part of my
Big fan.
family. And going back to one of our previous shows, when you creating family, it's important to remember everybody's name
Mm-hmm.
and build a relationship, find out what they do, and you have to support.
Yes.
Support can't be one-sided.
That's right.
So I'm just feeling excited about our guest tonight. And I'm going to allow you to introduce her, Vonda. Who's
Okay.
coming on tonight?
Well, tonight we have LaChelle Paul, one of the top community activists and advocates in the city of Dover. Her name is known throughout the whole state of Delaware because she is a driven force when it comes to community issues, and she is great at holding those accountable. She demands transparency. She is the voice. She has trained a lot of people and motivated a lot of activists in the state of Delaware. I introduce and bring to you LaChelle Paul.
Hello, everybody. How are you?
Hey, what's up, Shell?
You know what? I'm in it to win it.
There it is. There it is.
In it to win it.
There it is. And she's also running for District 32, um, District 32 House of Representatives as well. And we're going to get into that in a few moments. But right now, I think that people need to. I want them to get to know who LaChelle is. So before we talk politics, who is LaChelle Paul as a community leader and advocate and activist? What experiences pushed you towards serving your community?
I can say I'm a force to be reckoned with.
I agree.
um, the I am a mother. I'm a grandmother. But I also love children. So when I say I'm a force to be reckoned with, I believe in community. But one of the biggest things I believe in the community is our children. I don't believe that there's any such thing as a throwaway child. So for those of you that know me, know that I've worked with juvenile detention youth for many years. Um, and I advocate for them. I actually mentor. Basically, it became a full time job, unfortunately, for our juvenile at risk youth. And I work with a lot of children that come from marginalized community. I'm in court 4 to 5 days a week. Um, for fighting for those youths, not because, you know, they are actually innocent. Sometimes they are, sometimes they aren't. But when we deal with juveniles, the juvenile system is a little bit different. And because there are no throwaway kids, we have the ability, and it gives me the opportunity to go and work with those children, give them back some of the things that they've not experienced, give them some of the things they have not had the opportunity to experience, and get them back on the right track. So for me, that is my number one goal, is to, basically get our children the tools that they need, so that they can actually succeed. You know, Pretty much that's what my goal is. Outside of that, working in community.
Hmm. I appreciate that. Definitely. I hear a lot of great stories from some of the youth parents that you work with about how you've changed their child's mindset and changed things around. So that's amazing. My next question, if you don't mind, you decided to run for state representative in District 32. What made you say now is the time for me to step into this race? What was that one thing?
I think it's because being an advocate and fighting for constituents and their voice, because a lot of constituents are afraid to speak up. But I think it was 100% just the fact that the legislators have lost touch, and the presence of constituents are not being represented in that body as it should. A representative is selected so that they can actually represent the people of that district. And you can't do that if you're not present. You can't do that
Talk about it.
if you're not listening and hearing what the issues that your constituents are having. Um, I had to look back and reflect. For 4 years, I've not received an email about anything that's going on, any meetings that are going on with
Mm,
regards to my district. Um,
mm.
and with
Not
that,
one
that's
newsletter?
not one.
Oh, wow.
Um, and I've been in the same spot for 10 years. So
Mm,
with that being said, I should have, it's a lot of things that as constituents we need to know. A lot of people that are not into politics, and, they have issues that they're dealing with. And as a representative, we need to be present. We need to hear, we need to be out. From January to June, caucus is in session. So from July to December, that representative is supposed to be out, you know, speaking to the community. There should be meetings that are set up so that you can be able to tell your constituents what's going on, what bills are actually coming up. Find out what the problems are and what you're seeing
Hmm.
that people are having issues with, and then figure out the legislation that you need to create or critique to better serve the constituents that you're working with. But pretty much that is the reason, because I don't see what I need to see for my district. And at this point, it's time to advocate within the caucus.
That's what's up. I like that because even with my representative, I've never heard of a town hall. Never, it seems like it's a trend over there, and that's why some of these people who are legislators now have people running against them because they're not doing the work. So I appreciate that. Now we're going to transition a little bit from the politics and go into some grasswork questions. One thing that Peach and I hear all the time is that organizations closest to the problem are often the furthest away from the resources. Why do you think grassroots organizations struggle so much to access funding and support? Because I
Well, I
know
think,
you have a nonprofit, so I know you know some of this stuff.
well, you know what I think the first problem is, and that goes back to directing funding. When you are directing funding, so our state legislators, the state directs funding to the municipalities, and those municipalities actually direct the funding to the organizations. um, a lot of times what happens, and I'm just going to be honest, so if you have funding that goes to municipalities and it's for nonprofits, if that money is not used, then a lot of times that money goes back into the general fund of the municipality that it serves. I believe that, that is not a good idea. And I think that when you get funding, that money should be directed to organizations that are actually boots on the ground and actually resolving the problem. I think that municipalities get into the habits of directing funding to people that they feel comfortable with. And it's not always opened up the way it should be opened up for all individuals to know that that funding exists. So,
Like you mean it's
um,
going to the larger organizations that are commonly known to them, and then yeah.
and when you look at it, and let's think about it, when you get the larger organizations, the funding from the larger organizations normally go to the staff that actually work those organizations. It very seldom goes to the actual initiative that you're trying to fund. It goes for the people, for their payroll, for individuals that work there. So it leaves us still back to, when you have homelessness, when you have, and they need resources, and when you have marginalized youth that need resources, it brings us back to how are the resources being used to help the initiative? And that is one of the major issues. So you end up with grassroots organizations like yours and mine, and Pastor Leroy's, and a lot of smaller organizations that are actually hands on in the community, and they end up funding their own initiatives.
Yes.
And do we fund it? Yes, we find a way to fund it. Me myself personally, I have youth. I DoorDash, I Instacart, whatever it is I need to do to make sure that my youth get what they need. I actually partner with a lot of the other organizations. So, Michelle Terry is awesome. When I need to be able to get our kids out to do things and experience things that they've never experienced, she allows them to come, and she gives them horse riding lessons, and shows them how to groom the horses. And then if they donate their time, then they get those lessons for free. But it gives them the opportunity to show that they can actually take care of the horses. It's also therapeutic. you know um we have a lot of organizations that will donate their time. um when Danielle Fierce Boxing's gym was open, He donated the space. I had to pay for the coach in order for one of my youth to be able to actually train in his gym. You have to partner with individuals and other organizations that are willing to, assist you with your initiative while you do the same with theirs. So
Yeah,
it's collaboration.
and I'm glad you said that word because we could get into that next question. As you know, um, I really suggested and put a word out there like I do every year that 2026 was the year of collaboration. So let's get into this question. When we hear that word collaboration constantly, but sometimes grassroots organizations are invited to the table after decisions have already been made. So, what does meaningful collaboration really look like to you, Shell?
Well, you know what? I believe that every organization comes with their own set of strengths. And when you collaborate on initiatives, you know, normally, and I'm just going to be honest with most of the organizations that are out here, boots on the ground, grassroots, they have their powerful strengths in different areas. So the way we work and and I'm saying we because I've worked in this community for over 10 years. And it doesn't matter what the situation is, we always figure out how to come together. And it doesn't have to be right then and there. So I believe that the strengths that each organization has to bring to the table, they take charge in that area of the strengths. I believe that a lot of times, when you jump in and it's already started, you just have to get in where you fit in pretty much. But you figure out where you need to be and what's the most important thing. Is it always gonna be it's always gonna be hectic. I don't care what it is, it's always gonna be hectic. But we always weather the storm and we get through it as a unit.
Yeah. And see me, I don't matter. My thing is when it comes to collaboration, it doesn't matter if I'm not there right when they're planning it. There's a reason you called me to collaborate. What is it that you need from me? And this is what I'm going to bring to the table. You know what I'm saying? As long as everybody's doing their own job, that's how it is for me. So lots of times there's a reason, and I know you feel that way too. Like why'd you reach out to me? I keep these four little word acronyms, WIFM, and I know Peach is getting ready to laugh, but what's in it for me is what it stands for. Before I collaborate on anything, I have to be able to get something from it, whether it's some new volunteers, whether it's a new network, whether it's me helping in my community. I just don't want people to collaborate with me. And I'm pretty sure you feel the same way based on what I do in the community.
Well, you know what? I think it's very for me, and I'm going to be honest. I really don't I look at it. I'm always free to help anyone, but if I'm going to do something and I'm going to attach my name to it, I
Hmm.
need to make sure that the individual or the organization fits
Yep.
what
And,
I'm working towards.
hmm.
And I want to make sure that, the initiative that we're serving is something that I am actually in favor of, and that it goes towards what my goal that I'm working for. You know, some things I will actually just, I may actually be involved.
Hmm.
And if I'm not involved, then I will patronize and support you in that manner. But as far as me to actually collaborate and get involved, I have to make sure the that we're working towards the same goal, and
Right.
need to know what is the funding going to be geared for, how is it going to be spent, is it going to be or is it going to be spent on the initiative that we are actually working towards, is it going or is the money or the funding going to be squandered. I don't want my name attached to something if I'm not sure. If it's too many what ifs, I'll support, but I'm not going to attach
Yeah,
my
I've
name
done
to
that
it.
a lot too. Yeah, I'm the same way. When it comes to the organization piece and what you're, because it's about the integrity at the end of the point. That's one thing that a lot of us learned from you, Shell Paul, out here as community leaders. It's about integrity at the end of the day, and I appreciate that. Now,
I got something I want to add to that. to the bigger nonprofits, corporations and stuff. Collaboration is not you accepting funding for a specific project for the community and then keeping 75% of the funding and funneling down 25% to the smaller orgs to help you and placing your name on it. That is not collaboration at all. And I've noticed in this state in particular, a lot of that happens.
What Peaches, and that's one of the things that, and that's one of the things that is creating an issue. We talk about, a lot of times I hear legislators talk about the grant money or the funding that they're giving to certain initiatives. And the problem is that grant money it's being handed over, but we're not actually, where is the supervision to make sure that the funding is being used for the purpose that it's intended? If you're only using 25% to go towards that initiative, and prime example, homelessness is a problem. So if you're giving the money to the organizations and most of that money is going to their payroll, how are we actually servicing the homeless individual? If you have grants that are there, but those grants are rolling grants. And when we say rolling, that means they're not available, 24/7, you know, all year round. They're not. They're only available at certain portions or certain times because when that funding is released, it's already gone because, we already have such a big issue with the homelessness issue. And then we're back to square one. So, I think we need to start governing the money that we're actually giving to make sure that the people that we're giving the money to are actually spending that money for the initiative that it's being geared for so that we can actually combat the problem. The money's being given because we're trying to combat the problem. But if the money's not being tracked to make sure that that money's being spent wisely, then we're never going to cure the problem.
Yeah, I want to add to that. I've seen where some of these bigger orgs are getting like $500,000. You know what I'm saying, for a particular issue campaign, but they aren't in the field like the grassroots organizations are. And I want to say, like, let's talk about addiction and homelessness. Some of those bigger orgs are not at the grassroots level. And what are you doing getting 500,000 to attack homelessness, and we don't see you out there, but you see all these grassroots organizations that are. Why can't they just give us some of the money? I thought that's how it's supposed to be. The bigger organizations, from what Peach told me, are supposed to trickle down to the smaller ones. That's how it was where she's from. Am I saying it right, Peach?
Yes, I was told by a legislator, I will not say the name. Yes, the bigger orgs, because they have the financials to get the grants to even apply. They get the money, and the intended purpose is for them to take it and give it to the smaller orgs, but they're only giving us a very small percentage to do the work.
But again, who does that lie on? So if the state legislators are passing, there's a finance committee. So the question is, how many times has that finance committee actually held a session? How many times has that finance committee actually went through to look at where that funding is going? You know, for me personally, and again, I've said this for several years, Ivana, you know that I've said this. When the state hands this money down to municipalities and it's expected for them just to do what they're supposed to do, and then there's criteria that's put in place for this funding to be distributed to the organizations from these municipalities. Prime example, when there was funding for the COVID relief funding. Um, when that funding was out there, the city of Dover had applications that had to be submitted. But in that application process, there was a small minor detail that people failed to look at and they miss. When you complete an application for a grant, you have to make sure that you actually submit and you comply with every detail. That particular grant proposal,
Yeah, I remember.
in order for you to submit it, it had to be printed and scan through and then submit it. So if you did that proposal and you just emailed it, then you automatically you didn't meet the criteria
Criteria.
from the beginning because you didn't submit it the proper way. When that money is not used, it goes back what to the general fund, and then it's able to be used by the municipality. See, we want to make sure that, for me, I feel personally as a representative, as a legislator, I think. I would push to have that funding. A, we need to track the funding. And then B, if that money is not used by the municipality, and it needs to come back to the state. Why? Because we can't continue on, and then we know that they'll actually use it and disperse it to, and you have a better chance of it being dispersed to um those organizations that are really out there doing the work. Then a lot of times, and we can't always put it on the municipalities either, because a lot of times, a lot of the organizations need to actually do the work. They need to actually complete the applications. You can't expect for something to come to you if you haven't sought it. Just like you said, a closed mouth doesn't get fed. We have to start taking the initiative to actually submit for those grants so that we can get the assistance.
Okay, I like that. I like your answer to that. Let me get into this next one. You kind of touched on it a little bit, so I might skip to the next one. You touched on it a little bit about how can elected officials. I know that that's something you have really been talking about, like a couple years back about grant money, and I saw you putting out there the messages trying to help us get money. So I appreciate that. Now that you're running, I got a question for you. If elected, right? What is one concrete thing that you would work towards to help grassroots organizations access resources that have a stronger voice in government decisions?
One of the things that I think is very important, and this is something that I learned by sitting on the Mayor's OUD task force, that committee, one of the things that we have to make sure that we always do is workshops. We need to have the community, those organizations actually learn what they need to do to be able to apply for those grants so that they can get approved. But I think for as far as from a legislation standpoint, we need to make sure that we make that money available. We need to put some stipulations in to, when the funding is actually dispersed so that we can make sure that the organizations that are out there actually help tackle the issues. Gun violence is big right now. We're having an issue, and you can't get through to some of these children if you don't have those organizations that can get through to them. Everybody is not equipped to deal with someone that comes from a sanctioned gang. You know, um, so you need those organizations that are actually people that these kids will actually respect to get out there and work in those areas. Those are the organizations that actually need funding. And then you need to make sure that you give enough funding to those organizations like GBI, um, so that they actually get the things that they need. You need to make sure that you give enough funding to organizations like the coalition that are actually working out there to help youth from
Mhm.
a different standpoint. See, everybody is not geared one way. You have youth that are come from different backgrounds, and you need to be able to reach out to those youth for what they actually are accustomed to what they're familiar with, because you can't get through to everyone unless you are able to actually identify with their trauma and understand their lifestyle and their living and the way that they think. So, every organization is very important for what they bring and offer to the community for the area that they actually service and what they specialize in.
That's good because what I was gonna say is I've been to legislative hall with some of our, our grassroots organizations that are out here really doing the work. Some of them sometimes 7 days a week, and they got their nonprofit, they got their paperwork straight, and they've gone to legislative hall to talk to the legislators in their that's in the district, and some of the things that they have said, they didn't they didn't walk away like they would even have an opportunity to be given some of those funds that their senator or their representatives sit on these committees for, and that they didn't give them any advice on what they needed to do. And that was kind of, I was just a person there to observe, because I was trying to learn myself, like, how do we get some of this funding straight from the legislators? And there was no guidance. There was nothing given to say how we could get it. It was more talking about, I'm not the only person that votes on it, which we don't care about that. We can go have a meeting with them and explain, what this organization is about. But people, organizations, and the founders and the directors, there's got to be a way. And you're right, I love the fact about the workshops. I think those workshops need to come from the municipalities. To be honest, that is such a great idea, because how would we know? And sometimes some of that stuff is so hidden on the website that you can't find it. So I appreciate you echoing that. That is so important, because you don't hear a lot of legislators talk about that. And we, the grassroots organizations out here doing the work, are trying to figure out how we can get what these bigger organizations are being paid for, but they're not out 10 toes on the ground, and they're not in the thick of it like we are, where the actual problem is. They are the resource that we bring them to. I'm just saying.
Wait, you know what? I also think that one of the things that we have to look at when you said something that bothers me often with legislators. When I hear a legislator tell me, oh, well, that's not in my purview, or that's not, we don't have anything to do with that. We just go through and we get, no, no, that's not acceptable. Number one, I have dealt with legislators and I have reached out, and it doesn't have to be in their purview. If you have a question or if you have an issue, when you reach out to any one of your representatives, whether it's your representative, whether it's your senator, um, you know, and I'm going to be honest, I have reached out and I will, of course, anybody that knows me that since I've been advocating, I will put a slew of emails together. I'll attach the mayor, the governor, city council. I'll attach everyone that I need to attach if
Mhm.
I have an issue. And one of the reasons for doing that is because everyone that I attach is either their district, no matter what their title is. If that person is a representative or a legislator, state legislator of any kind, whether it be a senator, a representative, a council member, they have the obligation, if you are asking and seeking help, to, if it's not in their purview and they don't know, they don't have any control over that, they are supposed to direct you to that individual that can give you the help, and they are supposed to actually help you seek the answers until you get to the place that you're supposed to be. There is no excuse to say, oh, I don't do that. When we're talking about finances and we're talking about tracking money that's out there, it is their job. Why? Because they're in control of that budget. So when they anything that you do, it's going to cost money. So one of the things that you have to do is, if you're talking about passing legislation, you have to know how it's going to get funded. You can't go through and say that you're going to do something and not know where the resources are coming. So you have to do your homework on the budget in itself and where the funding is going to come from. And then before you actually go through and initiate whatever bill or whatever initiative that you are trying to gear to, once that funding gets passed down to the municipality, you have to make sure that that initiative is going to be served. So how do you do it if you don't use your finance committee to do the audits and track the money? It's impossible.
Right. Thank you. Thank you. Pete, you had a question? And I want to give a big shout out to Mayor Sturgeon, who is on tonight. She said put the municipalities to text and to task. And she also said that yes, funding makes it happen. Thank you so
That's it.
much for tuning in, Mayor Sturgeon.
Yes, I have. My question is just very simple, and I think I might even clip this because I feel like it's a lot of people in the community that absolutely, especially us, we don't believe in government. So my question is, what would you say to a conspiracy theorist that believes the government is rigged no matter what you do? And you are personally wasting your time running for office. What would you say to them? What advice or wisdom do you have for them?
You know what? It's never a waste of time, and I'm going to tell you why. If you don't do anything else but let that person that's holding that seat know that you're going to give them a run for their money and they better shape up or ship out, you are actually holding them accountable. You are letting them know that we're not just going to sit around and just let you sit here and do nothing. I have worked, I remember we had and this was 2 years ago, we had a town hall because people were really having issues with, the police and police brutality. And they felt like, a lot of things were, people were not being treated properly. And I remember hearing one of our representatives cackle in the background and say, oh, they've been complaining about this for over 60 years. It hasn't changed now yet, and it's not going to change now. And you know what? That bothered me. And my answer to that is people were fighting and they gave their lives 60 years ago. And we're going to keep on fighting for another 60 years if that's what it takes. Because what we will not do is conform. People died for us to have the rights that we are afforded. And it makes no sense for us to go through and sit quietly and be upset. It's theirs. It's there and it's yours. And if you choose not to fight for it, then what is that saying about you? I'm sorry, I've been a fighter all my life and I'm not gonna stop now.
Yeah, that's where I'm at. There's a lot of people who don't believe in government, but they're the ones who complain the most. That's how I feel. And they are the ones who really, until they see the change, then they want to jump on the bandwagon. But there's a lot of people who don't believe in government, and that's fine. I try to, give resources. So I feel you there. Um, but I do believe in government because I do see change. I mean,
Exactly.
change don't come overnight. I in my full-time job, I've been working on a issue campaign that, hey, from me hustling and grinding, I got change. you know and the other advocates, hundreds of people that have been working on it. I look at reproductive rights, I look at many voting rights that I've worked on, and it doesn't come overnight, but change did happen. So I do believe in government, most
But I
definitely.
think it's also about the people that we put in these seats. And I'm going,
Exactly.
Mayor Sturgis is on here. I love Mayor Sturgis. And it's about the people that you put into the seat to represent you. And you have to make sure, we are in an era where, you know, the new racism is financial class. And I'm just being real.
Oh yeah.
If the new racism is financial class, let's think about it.
Hmm.
$15, if you're making $15 an hour, you still can't afford to pay your bills. You can't even go and get an apartment. Why? Because you have to make three times the amount
Hmm.
of what it is to even be able to qualify for those apartments. And how is that possible
It's not
when
even
the average
affordable.
going rate on an apartment is 1450, 1492 and above?
Yeah.
You can't meet the task. So, a lot of people that have mortgages that purchased homes, what, 10, 20 years ago, and they're still, they got a fixed rate before those rates went up. Thank God that you purchased your home then. People that are out here living every day in this world right now, they can't even afford to pay their rent. I talked to a constituent today, and they're paying
Yeah.
$2,000
Financial pressure.
plus.
Hmm.
And guess what? $2,000 plus, and they were had their rent all inclusive at one point, and now their next renewal of their lease,
Mm,
they're going to be paying the same rent, and now they're going to be paying their own utilities. So you help me understand.
yeah,
There is nothing out there. None of this makes sense. The math doesn't math right now.
right. Great feedback. Thank you, Shell. We do have a closing question. So we're reaching up and on our time. We're gonna go over a little bit. I'm sorry, Queen. There is somebody watching tonight, and I know I got about three of my friends who are getting ready to start their nonprofits, who are exhausted because they're doing excuse me, they're doing important community work without enough money, staff, recognition, or support. What would you say to those grassroots leaders who are wondering whether they can keep going or not?
You can. And those representatives that you have on the local level as well as on the state level, guess what? You need to start reaching out to them, because you need to be reaching out to them and let them know, this is what I am doing. This is what our initiative is. You go through, you have all your receipts. You show what you're working on. You show the work that you're doing, and you show where your funding is going. And you have to make sure that everything is in order. But you go to those representatives, you go to your councilman. City council has discretionary funds. Each individual council person, you can go and reach out to them and say, hey, we need this dollar amount in order for this to happen. This is for our children. This is for our community. This is what this is going for. And they will go and reach in their pocket and give you that funding if it's available. Each individual council person gets a specific dollar amount allotted to them in discretionary funds. Your representative, your state representatives, they have funding out there that they can actually help fund an initiative for. There's no reason that your representatives that represent you, that you put in those seats, should not be helping you, especially if it's going to attack and hurt and help the initiatives that they are working or fighting towards causing, getting a solve, resolving those issues. There's no reason that their funding can't assist you.
Thank you so much. And I have taken your advice with this. I did take your advice, and I did go to our local municipality for our youth hygiene drive. And I must say that out of all the ones that I reached out to that I have a relationship with, um, they have donated. So thank you for that advice. I am now going to go to our some of my state legislator friends, and big shout out to one of our. I'm not going to plug nobody's name, but one of our senators did donate some things, and is getting ready to donate some things for the females as well, because they have a large quantity. So I'm very blessed. Opening my mouth, like you said, if you don't open your mouth, nobody, like Queen said, nobody knows what you need. And so I've been doing that a lot more. And I appreciate that so much. And thank you. So, do you have any last words you want to say? I know your voting day is coming up. You want to let the people who are tuned in, let them know. No, some last words.
You know what? All y'all vote. Let's get out there September 15th. I need your votes in the primary. You know, um, like I said, everybody, I tell people this all the time, you have mouth for everything but the right thing. If you are complaining and talking about you want change, but you don't go out there to vote, then guess what? Don't come to me talking about what you did not do or could not do, because the first thing I'm going to say is, did you vote? If you want to change, you create that change. Every single, and the primary, this is a primary election, and the problem is a lot of people don't like to come out through primary elections because they're considered secondary elections, and they only want to come out through the major elections. But you know what? I need everybody out to vote in every district, for every single person, whether it be the attorney general, whether it be, your state representative, your senator. If they have not done what you wanted them, what they should have done, and they are only coming out, I'm gonna be honest, I'm calling people to the carpet right now. That's what I do.
Uh-huh.
We don't want those that, if you are only coming out here and you're coming through when it comes time and you want to talk to me when
When it's
it's
buddy
time for
time.
you to campaign, and we ain't seen you in a month of Sundays. It's been a year and a half, a year and 9 months, and now all of a sudden you're out. And if you don't have someone that's out there and that's campaigning and that's running against you, you ain't even out now. If you cannot be present, if you cannot be visible, then guess what? We don't want you.
Sit down.
We want people that are going to be there to actually sit in those seats and work for us. And if you're not there and you're not doing that, then I'm so glad we had this time together, but it's time for you to go.
Thank you. So September the 15th, if you
All
live
y'all
in,
vote.
yep, if you live in the District 32, get out and vote. Vote LaChelle Paul, 32. It's all over the place. LaChelle
No,
Paul.
you gotta vote who's ever in your best interest. And when you're a
Oh
nonprofit,
yeah,
you
Yes.
cannot endorse anyone.
I've done it right.
Well,
We
you
can't
know what?
endorse.
I want to tell everyone, I want everyone to understand when you go out to vote, I want you to do the research. And we're not talking about, when we talk about, oh, I did this and I did that. No, I need for you to do your research. And when I say this all the time to everyone, when we talk about grants and funding, what kind of grant and funding that was actually approved? How is that beneficial? And then did you find out about it? Did you know those grants and that funding was there and available? you know um the grants that you have available right now for small businesses, and they're not even nonprofits. Did who let the small business owners know that that money was out there and available to them? There's grants and funding that are out there, and if we don't know about it, guess what? You can't utilize it. What good is it doing for us, people that actually need it, if you're not noticed? What
Yeah,
network are you noticing it on? How are you getting this information out to your constituents? The same way you go out to these doors and you ask these people for their votes to come out and vote for you, they should be out on their networks. Email, Zoom meetings are beautiful. We're doing one now. You can go through, get the resources out to them. The same way you send a mass text talking about come out, all y'all vote, vote for me because I'm doing this. That. Guess what? You should be sending those same texts to every one of those constituents because you have their information to let them know what's out there. Stop playing games. We're not going to keep playing these games. You have the resources
yeah,
and you are not even telling people how to get them.
yeah,
Y'all get out and vote. Do your research. See what actually has been done. Don't let people flim flam you and talk about what they're doing. And then ask yourself this question. Vonda, I love this. Remember, you came in the city council 5 years ago. What
yeah,
have you done for me lately? At the end of the day, think about the things that have been voted on. And I'm not going back because I don't believe in that. I believe in the right now. HB 326 was a bill that regulated, PSA was regulating the caps that could be put on Delmarva Power to make sure that you were not, consumers wouldn't be price gouged. Now, for those that say I didn't have Delmarva Power as a provider, understand they set a precedent for each and every one of these power companies around. And guess what? What constituent did you talk to that said you wanted to give that power back to the power company? What would have been the use for the bill? You have to do what's best for the consumer. But before you do anything, what constituent did you talk to justify making any changes? Who wants to give that? Who wants to pay out more money? Nobody. I need you to do your homework. Every single thing that you want to go through to do your research. See, we can talk from legislators that are sitting in the seat to talk about what we did. Go through, research it out. See exactly what the bill actually does. We're not talking about the surface, the signing part. We're talking about peeling back the layers of the onion. See what actually was done, how it affects you or how it can't. One little word, a mandatory or if we just request that they, ask per, we're not requesting anything. Why would you go through to request? It doesn't make sense. You can go through and ask somebody to do anything. You don't need to create a bill for that.
An
We want
amendment.
it done. We want a bill to say this is what you're mandated to do.
Thank you. Mhm.
All y'all vote.
There it is. Queen. Mhm.
Ooh, great information. I don't have any more questions, but we can let everyone know to act. You can actually track bills. I think that's some, necessary information that everybody needs to know for your state. You can track a bill.
Yes,
So
you can.
And everybody, you know what? One thing that I got to give kudos to everybody in legislators, including my option. Kudos for the John Lewis voting rights bill. Hey, we made sure that they made sure that we still have our actual voting rights out there. So you know what? Kudos to them for that.
Yep. What happened here? Oh no.
nothing. Well, thank you, Shell. Like she blacked out, but thank you for joining us. Hopefully she comes out again after the election, because that will be an interesting conversation after that. So thank you. I'm gonna take you off screen. This was a great, once again, all of the actual shows are great, and I love having on different females from different walks of life. Audience, how did y'all feel about this live stream? I
Uh,
see people looking. How do y'all feel?
I see some advice that just came in the chat, Queen. We need to do a class on how to read a bill. I agree. I do that. I facilitate a training for that. But yeah, I think that is important. Thank you, Darlene.
Yeah, and I think all organizations, like I know for my nonprofit, we actually have links on our websites and inside the app, especially the LGBTQ plus one, where you could actually track what's going on. And I used to literally look at it every day since
That's
DT
gonna
been
drive
in
me
office.
crazy.
I
Look
don't
at
care.
it
I
every
was just
day.
making sure.
Yeah, I gotta come to my email. I put in what bills I'm looking for so to keep me update on the federal and the local level for my state. So I can stay on top because I be looking at multiple bills. But I didn't know you had it on the website. That's awesome.
Yes, I do. And I
Yeah.
think it's a great idea for all organizations. That way you could stay, in the know of what's going on in your state
And
and
be
know
able to
what you're fighting
advocate.
for and
Mhm.
how to adjust your mission. So yes, that's one tip. But yeah, great show. I'm glad Shell came on. She gave out a lot of great information about how to look, change people's views on getting grants and stuff like that, the money. And I love one thing that she said: you as a nonprofit, unless you are actively seeking, you don't know what type of funding is where and if you even qualify for it. So I do think a lot of that stuff needs to be more public.
Mhm.
Even the commissions that are out here in Delaware, right?
Mhm.
Again, y'all know I have the LGBTQ plus nonprofit. It was a whole commission created, and we weren't privy to the information. So I think some things need to be more transparent. But that is all I have to say. I could sit here all night and talk about some of
Well,
the things, but we're not. That's probably
yeah,
another show.
yeah,
Um,
that's definitely another show. Just me and you talking, and dropping some things. Yeah, I think that's another show. I think last year they understood what time. Come on now. Yeah, yeah. We're gonna leave it right there because we at our time. 'Cause, I get hyped real quick, and how they try to come at me, use me as a token, and that was not gonna happen. I'm
let's leave it. Let's leave
leave
it
it right
there.
there. Leave it right
All
there.
right. So next week we have another female entrepreneur. The show is going to be a little different because she
is
First
busy.
off, happy birthday to her. You
Yeah.
know, at the moment we pre-recorded her interview, it was her birthday, so she could not go live. But best believe I got all the information that I could get from Dr. Taylor. So join us next week because you are in the business of you. We'll be
Yes.
talking about it.
Indeed.
You got any final words?
You know me, I just want to tell everybody, you know what I'm saying? If you're not happy with the way your life is going, maybe you're trying to reach something and you just not reaching it. If you're in the same place that you were 6 months ago, you got to change up the formula. And usually it starts with a subtraction sign. All right. You got to change up the formula, how you doing things so that you can thrive.
All right. Well, thank y'all for joining us. Please look for the recap of LaChelle Paul's interview on houseofpeach.org. Check out all of our fabulous articles. Read
Sure.
and learn more about these female entrepreneurs. And as always, I hope you leave here encouraged and inspired. Y'all have a great night.
Thank you to everyone on all our platforms. I see everything coming through. Thank you. Oh, thank you for helping us get monetized. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, we're
Yes,
monetized.
we are monetized now. Thank you.
Have a good night, everyone.
Feel energy. I can read your aura. Get that skill from my mama.